Members, what I have for you is a preliminary report. We are in the editing time period of class size. We always have an editing time period. All districts are given that. What DOE does is they do a first run and a report. It is drawn off of the October FTE, and they apply the class size protocols, statutory language when they do that. At that point in time, that list is published. It is a public record. The media does look at that, and that's what starts the conversation from a media standpoint. Totally understand that. From the district, we take that and we are doing our edits, and we go through, just like FTE, you go through school by school, student by student, classroom by classroom, and you look at it. And it is not that our people do not know how to count 1 to 18 or 1 to 20 or 1 to 22 or 1 to 25. There are many nuances, and we have talked about this. So we look at everything and go back through here. Here's a report of where we are. There was a newspaper article out that said we had over 361. And I believe there was some chatter about it on Facebook as well from that newspaper article. This is a report as it stands right now. And our staff, and I have to commend Barbara Cadwell and the finance department, because they have been going through this daily. And it takes a lot of time to go through this, and they've been working with it. You will see there are still 2 schools that we are still reviewing and doing edits on those. But as of right now, we have 291 classes/courses that are over. Let me explain what that means. For example, an elementary school has 12 classes that are over. That equates to 2 students. Those 2 students happen to be kindergarten students. And at that particular elementary school, and board members, I will go back to a board meeting the first part of October where I reported to the board that, in fact, I believe it was September 29th, as a matter of fact. That night, I said to the board that we have some situations that we're in one elementary school, and it happens to be this elementary school, where they had all their classroom teachers. Their kindergarten classrooms were at 18, and lo and behold, that day, they had a 19th kindergarten student come in. In this particular case, and since that board report, they had a second one come in. So they have 2 kindergarten students that are over the 18. So there are 2 classrooms. Well, then you may look and say, well, there's 12. Why does it say 12? Because that is by course. Kindergarten students have math, they have reading, they have science, social studies, they have courses. And so that is why when you see 12, that doesn't mean it's 12 students or 12 classroom teachers. In this particular case, it is 2 classroom teachers that have 1 student over. They have 19 students instead of 18. Yes, we made a conscious decision at that point in time, and I did report it to the board. Now, I understand the 2 new board members were not present at that particular time, but I said we made both an academic and a business decision. And for someone to say that it was purely a business decision without consideration of children, that is absolutely not true. Because when that 19th student came in, that was not an academic problem. In fact, what we were going to be faced with is not only hiring a new teacher for that, but splitting a class. So half of that 18 classroom, 9 of those children would be coming out of there getting another teacher. And that is very traumatic to kindergarten students. So yes, there was the child's and the children in that school and the classrooms that would be impacted. And the decision was that those children would go into those classrooms would not be divided, and there was not an academic problem to have 19 children in that classroom. And so we very consciously decided in those cases, and when you look down through that, you will see that consistent. That's pretty much the case all the way down. Where, and in a middle school, you can kind of go down through and see that. The 2 schools that have the largest number of courses or classes that are over, you will still see, like one of the high schools, it's 8 FTE, Eight students, it's actually 16 sections, so it's 16 students. But it equates to one course here, one course there. So again, to have it made out like, again, our staff does not know what they're doing, or that there is deliberate manipulation of class size is erroneous, and that is not fair. And yes, I'm going to speak up on this one, and I'm going to speak out on this one for every staff member in this district, teachers included, because we made it very clear with a management directive that no one would be reporting things in a way that it is not representative of where the child was in that class at that moment in time, and their schedule reflected that. We actually even took all the district staff and deployed them out during FTE week and spot checked. I did 3 schools myself and went out and we went into a classroom. We had the roster that was pulled off the system. We pulled the teacher's roster and we called roll. And we cross-checked, and if that student was not in that classroom, we found out why. Were they absent and still on the books? We confirmed with the teachers. And I submitted my report for the schools I went to, and we have that documentation. So we have done everything to ensure, in fact, we probably have gone to the extreme, because now we're going back through, because there are classroom or cooperative consultation types of situations where the teachers and the administrators were being overly cautious because they knew they had a management directive that they could not violate, that they, in an abundance of caution, we probably could have counted some students in class size because of IEPs and different things like that, but we were overly cautious. And you don't want to go that way either. We want to be right on the mark, but that's why we're going through this, line by line, student by student, and that's why we're going through this. So yes, we did make a decision. We did it from an academic standpoint. And quite frankly, when you look at it, yes, we are going to pay a penalty. But like I did last year, I will be submitting this with the understanding that we are going to be appealing it because we had a lot of growth that DOE did not fund us on. We have over 500 students. And that was why we didn't get a penalty last year. In addition, because I reported it up front. So I stand behind the integrity of this district, the integrity of the administration in reporting this and being forthright and by doing this. And frankly, last year there was a lot of conversation about teachers being asked to sign things that were incorrect, and they could not. And I hear this blanket statement: everybody's afraid in this district. Everybody's afraid in this district. And frankly, yes, there are probably 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 instances, but every time that has come up to me, I have said, I will not tolerate that. That is not the way I do business. And I believe there is not a person in this district that would say, when it has come to me, I have not dealt with that. And I'm going to look right at Stuart Cladd in the audience, because he knows that when he came to me last year, and yes, I am angry about this, when he came to me last year and said that there is a teacher that was told to sign something and it was inaccurate, I said, absolutely not. That teacher will not do it. And we had a unified statement, and anytime there was an instance that came up, but yet that is still coming up over and over and over again, that I am supporting teachers to be bullied into signing things. That is absolutely not true. And I am going on the record today to say that is not true, that is in the management directive. And I have even cited the school board policy that gives the person the ability to say, I am not signing this, and I am not going to be held with retaliatory practices. And to date, I do not know of one case in employee relations where an employee is up for discipline or any disciplinary action that has been taken for someone speaking out. Someone brought up about how many teachers came and spoke at a board meeting. 200 and some, Mr. Dodd, I think, whomever said that. Not one of those teachers who came and spoke, and frankly, that wasn't a pleasant board meeting. They were speaking out against different things that are going on. They spoke out against the blueprints. Not one of those teachers has had disciplinary action taken against them for what they spoke in an open board meeting. I applauded them for bringing things to the attention. And in fact, you know, I can't take care of things, nor can I be held accountable for things that people will not come and let me do my job. And frankly, I need to be allowed to do my job, and I want to be held accountable for it. But I cannot be if people will not allow me to do it. If people are going to choose to do those things on Facebook and not bring forth people, you know, people are saying things on Facebook, there's no responsibility for what's said there, nor am I allowed to have even the opportunity to go address the situation and find out what is fact and what is not. What is perception and what is fact. And last time I checked, we do not fire people on unfactual basis. I believe that would create Mr. Johnson a lot more heartache. And he would have a little problem if our administration did hiring practices such as that. And we do not do that. And so, you know, I stand behind the report. You know, I don't know, to the public input that came along, who the district spokesman person was, nor do I believe that they were intending, if it was a district spokesperson, and I see Brian shaking his head, so I know it wasn't him. I don't know who the district spokesperson was, and frankly, I'm not sure there was a district spokesperson, because the last time I checked on social media and some of the reports, there's a lot of inaccuracies there. And so the fact nothing is being pinned on teachers that they did anything wrong. In fact, I believe the staff did everything right. And I'm not going to apologize for doing what is right for students. You have hired me to do a job. I take it very passionately, and I'm going to always do what's right for students. And 20% of the people are not going to agree with me. 20% of the people are going to think I do everything right, and there's this big 60% in between that are you know, going to take time to take on the issues that are most important to them. And all of their input is important to me. All of it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I believe you have hired me to do in the judgment and the training that I've had, what is in the best interest of students. And in class size, I can sit here and give you this report with clear conscience that no one has fraudulently represented anything. We are good on our records. We are going through them. And frankly, I don't want to take a penalty any more than anybody else. But the fact of the matter is I was not splitting up classrooms. And I thought I had your blessing when we did that.
And you did. And that's what I was going to say. Roseanne?
A couple of you, well, actually, yeah, exactly. About 4 years ago, when we had the issue with class size, and we had parents come to our meetings and said, my child was in his American history class for 3 weeks and just got pulled out and placed into a biology class because there were too many students in his class and he's now put over into another class. And then 2 weeks after that, that same student was pulled out of that biology class and placed into a chemistry class. And I may have the subjects wrong. But the point is, 5 weeks into the semester, this child was moved 3 times because there were too many students. There were too many students that moved into the district that caused overcrowding of that classroom. And that's why I had said earlier, if we have 1 or 2 students show up, okay, now we're at 19 or 20. So do we say we're going to split up 9, 9, 9, go hire another teacher? When you look at our funding, we don't have the money to go hire another teacher to teach less than 18 students or 22 students or 25 students. So please, trust the superintendent. Talk to the superintendent. Let her provide with the information, because there is no underhandedness going on. There is no sneakiness going on. And if we do have to pay a penalty as opposed to moving your child for the 3rd time within a semester, you would want us to pay the penalty and not move your child 3 times.
And the other example, Roseanne, was the kindergarten kids that we